What was the civil rights movement? The easy answer, and like most easy answers, the wrong one, is that it was a movement to secure the rights of American citizens for Black Americans. Clearly it was that, but it was much, much more. The struggle that the Black community and its allies waged, that we call the civil rights movement, deepened the currents of American democracy for all Americans. None of the entitlements and rights that generations of immigrants coming to this country since enjoy, all of them were struggled for and won by the struggle of Black Americans. The rights of women was a direct consequence of the civil rights movement. The rights of minorities, people with disabilities, and so forth and so on. So that the civil rights movement was not simply a struggle for Black rights, though that was at the apex of it, but it was a struggle for the democratic rights of all Americans and an enrichment of the democratic heritage of this country. So far as this specific accomplishment, the civil rights movement, the nonviolent direct action civil rights movement of the South, which is what we really mean when we talk about the civil rights movement, achieved its legislative agenda with the Civil Rights Act of 1964, which interesting enough didn't include anything about voting, so we had to go back to the well one more time and get the Voting Rights Act of 1965 after the Selma March. With that, and with all the elements included in the Civil Rights Act, housing, education, etc., the infrastructure of American apartheid, white supremacy, and Jim Crow was destroyed in the country. The democratic process was opened up. And with the coming of the Black Power movement, the Black community was encouraged to get involved into the political process. Black congressmen, Black mayors, Black so-and-so. The civil rights movement didn't integrate the country as we discussed before, but it accomplished a great many things. It opened up opportunity in education to Black and minority communities. So in a remarkably short period of time, you saw generals emerge and head of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. You saw the CEOs first of branches, departments of Fortune 500 companies, then of actually Fortune 500 companies. And you have a Black president. So all those things are extremely dramatic changes. But for the masses of Black people who still are subject to inferior education, who still the victims of legal and police discrimination across the nation. So there's a great deal of change, and there's a great deal that is intractable, that has become worse.
The unity of 22 million so-called Negroes up from slavery is the answer to our salvation. We are suffering untold torture and murder at the hands of our enemies because of the lack of unity. The cause of this lack of unity among us is due to the work and teaching of our enemies, the slave master's children. The slave master's children have reared our fathers and mothers to be enemies of each other. They have destroyed our love of self and kind. They have educated us to hate and refuse all that goes for Black people. The lack of love for self and kind keeps us divided, and being divided, we are a nation of prey at the hands of our ever-open enemies. Whatever the amount of education we receive from our enemies, we are still the slaves of our enemies due to the lack of knowledge of self, God, and the devil. The true religion, self-pride, self-interest, and self-independence, and the desire of a country and of a government of our own under the law of justice and righteousness for every one of our people, Black people, and throughout the earth. But let us start first here in America, where we are the victims of no freedom, justice, and equality, and we know the pains of being divided. Welcome back. Happy Monday. Welcome back to On the Shoulders of Giants. I'm Joseph Ward, and we're continuing our reading of Elijah Muhammad's message to the Black man in America. And this chapter is Land of Our Own and Qualifications, the Unity of 22 Million. Land of Our Own and Qualifications, the Unity of 22 Million, from pages 220 to 247. It So pages 222, 47 started in the first paragraph. So for us to get to the ideal place that I think a number of us believe we should be, I agree with what Elijah Muhammad is saying. We need our own independence, but our independence comes from our unification. Now, I'm pairing this with the video of the gentleman talking about civil rights, because I've been having conversations with people for the last couple of weeks about, trying to get people to think about the difference between fighting for civil rights and Black rights specifically. I was at an event weeks ago, and we were sitting at tables, and we had a couple of our lobbyists and politicians come by and talk to us about specific things that they're advocating for. And it was interesting that every person was fighting for something for a specific group, except the Black person. The woman was fighting for specific abortion rights. You had one man fighting for specific LGBTQ rights. Somebody's fighting specifically for elder rights. Somebody fighting for rights for immigrants. But the Black person was fighting for civil rights. And then my question was, well, why are we, in 2024, with access to all of the information that we have to see what worked and what didn't work, why are we still fighting for civil rights in 2024 rather than the rights of Black people in America, Foundation of Black American, ADOS, whatever you want to call yourself, the Black people in America who are the descendants of slaves in America? Why aren't we fighting for our specific rights, rather than continuing to fight under the umbrella of civil rights? Who the hell is civil? Fighting for, as the gentleman said in the opening video, fighting for civil rights is not just fighting for the rights of Black people, it's fighting for democratic rights. But there's no democratic rights in a system where one group of people have the power. That's not democracy. It's not. So civil rights is a glorified hot mess. Let's just call it what it is. Civil rights is a glorified hot mess. And the way the history is being told, it's distorted the way we even think about freeing ourselves. I'm having a conversation with a young lady that I work with, and she brought up this situation with the interview with Shannon Sharp and Monique, and some of the things Monique was talking about, and she was complaining about Hollywood and Netflix and people not paying her worth. So, the conversation me and the young lady is having there, and I'm like, well, you ain't tired of Monique just complaining about a group of people that's not going to give her what she feels like she needs, or she deserves? Like, they're not going to give it to her. The only way she came close to getting that, she had to go and sue, and they settled. And they didn't settle because they agreed with her. They settled to get her out of their hair. And so, but why are we begging people to give us what we believe we deserve rather than going to get it for ourselves? And in a separate conversation with the young lady, I agree with what she said. We don't want to work for it. We don't want to work for our own salvation. That's a damn problem. We believe somebody is supposed to give us our freedom. Somebody is supposed to give us our liberation. We're not supposed to work for it. We're not supposed to gain our own. We're not supposed to build our own. It's supposed to come ready-made. Well, show me where in history has any group of people who were under the thumb of another group of people, their salvation or their freedom, their liberation, were just given to them by the people who they were under the thumb of. Where has that happened in history? And I know the people who watch this, I know y'all know history. But for other people who you don't know, like, we don't even want to know our own history. So we don't even know any history. So we make up shit based off of how we feel. And that's the ignorant part and the frustrating part about what we do. We refuse to learn our own history. We refuse to learn world history. We have no idea of how the world actually works. And then we make up shit based off of what we feel out of the ignorance that comes from us because we want people to treat us right. And the earlier conversation with the young lady, when we're talking about Monique, she brought up the civil rights movement as an example of what we should do. And it's like, well, we can all agree that we didn't gain much from the civil rights movement. The only thing we gained was access to white stuff to make them richer. So look around. I told look around you in this city where we are. This community that we're in was a bustling black community 50, 100 years ago. It was a bustling black community. Now look at it. It's a dilapidated, cracked out, drug infested, prostitute infested, crime riddled community. We gave up everything we had to be a part of white people's stuff. And then we're begging white people to give us what we need. Think about that. We gave up our own to be a part of white people's stuff just to come back and beg white people to give us the stuff that we gave up. That's crazy as hell. But I digress. Let's go ahead and get back into it. So page 220, the bottom paragraph, page 220. At present, we have hundreds of clubs and organizations, thousands of teachers, hundreds of educators, scholars, scientists, technicians, doctors, lawyers, judges, congressmen, ambassadors, professors, tradesmen of all kinds of engineers of most every kind. We have all kinds of religious believers, teachers, preachers by the thousands, agriculturalists, herdsmen, and cattlemen, and fishermen, and hundreds of wild game. What more do we need but unity of the whole for the whole? What more do we need? Of all these skilled people, all these people educated in vastly different things that we can work together, but we choose not to. What actually is preventing the unity of 22 million? Of course, today is 40 million. I saw somebody in the comments tomorrow, it's 40 million. I'm reading a book. That was written in the 70s, that was published in the 70s. I'm reading a book, and the book, it says 22 million. Use some common sense. We know it's 40 million now. I'm reading the book. All right, but anyway, what more do we need but unity of the whole for the whole? What actually is preventing this unity of 22 million or more of us in the ignorance and foolish love and fear of our enemies in the professional and leadership class of the nation of 22 million black people up from slavery? These are disgraceful Uncle Toms in the world of freedom, learning and advanced science in every branch of study. How long shall we seek the white man's education to become their servants instead of becoming builders of a progressive nation of our own, of some of this earth that we can call our own? Why are you so foolish to think it cannot be done? I have Allah and the world of the righteous on my side to accomplish this. Our ignorant outlook upon how we exist is keeping us from uniting. But it also goes back to the way Elijah Muhammad said earlier. It's also doing part to the conditioning, the programming that we've received from the slave masters, from the white society. They programmed us to be enemies of ourselves. So we're trying to work through that, get over that, power through it. We don't have to see ourselves as enemies. It's the perception. We can change our perception. We can change our lens. We can change the channel. This is a part of it. That's why we do these book reviews. That's why we have these conversations, so we can help to change our mind, change the programming, change the perception. In order for the programming to be changed, new information has to be poured in. That's why we do what we do. So how can we unite? So you say that we cannot unite and produce our own necessities? We are 22 million or more people depending upon the white American citizens to produce food, clothes, shelter, transportation, unemployment, and our educational training. And if they do not share equally with us, we charge them with discriminating. Some of us will go to the extreme of disgracing ourselves and trying to force the white American citizens to give equal respect. The love of self and American citizens, the love of self and self-respect, along with the will to do something for self, is given, if given a chance, will give you the respect of all citizens. It's earned. Wealth, freedom, respect, love, power is earned. It's not given. It's earned. Wake the hell up. I don't know what world we're living in, why we keep telling ourselves this dumb stuff, That's never worked. Wake the hell up. We have to earn our freedom. We have to earn the respect. We have to earn our place in the world. And right now, we've done nothing to earn it. You cannot beg your way to freedom. You cannot shame your way to freedom. You cannot spread awareness to freedom. You cannot protest and march to freedom. It's deeper than that. You know where I'm going. You know where I'm going. And if you don't know where I'm going, you need to keep studying. It is a shame and disgrace to the intelligence of any people to lie at the feet and doorsteps of another nation, asking, praying to be cared for. Love and unity of self and kind is the key to our salvation. It's on us. If you say we cannot unite, you are wrong. And you native. We can unite before your very eyes. You see the brothers of Allah and his religion, Islam, uniting this divine power from Allah working among us, uniting us into a nation of brotherly love. This approves the lies of that old saying that the Negroes cannot unite. I agree with you who are in the Christian churches, lovers and followers of white Christians, that you cannot enjoy love and unity among yourselves. The basic aim and purposes of the religion Christianity was to deceive other races, namely the black, brown, yellow, and red, to make an easy prey for the white race. But today, you and I both see the powerless forces of Christianity unable to bring about peace among those who profess it. Since Christian Europe and America cannot bring peace to their troubled world with all their satellite nations as helpers, what kind of peace can they make for us? Great question. Their religion divides one against the other. This I am sure we can all agree upon. We must know self and gain self-respect. This will remove that old slave idea to the so-called Negroes cannot unite and build an independent nation on some of this good earth that we can call our own. Stop looking for others to help you in that which you can help yourself. The white man has made the black man lazy, and that he may rule and enslave him by producing and selling to him that which he can produce himself. I'm going to read that again. The white man has made the black man lazy, that he may rule and enslave him by producing and selling him that which he can produce himself. But the white man knows that he has destroyed the black man's unity. And as long as the black man thinks he cannot love and unite with black, the white man knows that he has a permanent slave. As long as we act like we can't get together, we're going to be permanent slaves. Come and let us unite under the crescent and do something for ourselves in the way of supporting our own needs. Go after some of this earth for our nation of 22 million here in North America. If it cannot be had here, there's plenty of earth elsewhere. Now, I would disagree with him by saying uniting under the crescent. I would say unite under a code of conduct. Uniting under a code of conduct, which means that we're not led by or bound by a religion. We're bound by duty as a people. So whatever your religion is, it is what it is. We're not stopping you. Well, we're not going to not unite with you because you believe in something different as far as religion wise. What is your code of conduct? What is the code of conduct that we are united upon? What are we bonded under? That's why I would disagree with him on that, is uniting under that code, not necessarily the religion. I understand how he feels and he sees and he believes the religion should be used, and he believes that the religion will lead to our salvation. However, in 2024, we have enough evidence to understand that what he was saying here, all of it did not necessarily pan out the way that he said it would in this book. So therefore, let's not unite under a religion, rather unite under a code of conduct. And I remember seeing the comment, even though we've showed the code of conduct we've came up with various times, plenty of times on this channel. Somebody's like, well, you keep talking about a code of conduct. Well, show what's your code of conduct. Go to the PACTSINC.org. THEPACTSINC.org. And you will be able to see what we're talking about in our code of conduct. So, of land and a nation. What we must understand today is the importance of acquiring land of our own. We are no longer a mere handful of people. We are a little better than 22 million, and the population is still increasing. Nowadays, we're 40 million. We cannot forever continue to depend upon America to give us a job, send us to school, build our houses, and sell us her food and give us nothing in return. America was not established and chartered with constitutional guarantees for the black man, but for the white man. America was not founded to guarantee the freedoms and equality of the black man and woman, and indeed, she is not seeking to grant these privileges to our people today. In what other country on this earth will you find 22 million people with the framework of another people's government seeking to become qualified citizens, joyously singing the song of integration? Our people are the fools of the nation. Integration means self-destruction, and the means to this end, it is exactly that, death and nothing less.